好，谢谢各位等待很久这样，因为我们今天临时就是有原住民电台的朋友来采访 Jeffrey 这样。那这是 Jeffrey Lim， 然后他已经来台湾很多次，他中文名字叫林猶進，相信大家都已经有印象这样。那可是可能就是要跟那个拍摄朋友讲一下，就是我们本来设计是我会做个大概20分钟到半小时的开场，因为主要是说他来台湾很多次，可是跟群岛资料库的合作是第一次，所以我们会需要花一点时间去解释为什么我们会有这次的合作。那这个合作它的意义，或者说它可能开展的一些对于群岛资料库可能开展的面向，这样。So I will use Chinese for the following half hour. OK. 可以。OK. 好。所以，那大家首先我要做一些比较像是框架的工作，就是现在大家看到的这个图，它其实是今天早上我才在电视这样讲，对，这样会被录下来。就是我自己找的一些关于南岛它南岛语系的，我那本书对不起，我拿一下东西，不好意思。就是关于南岛语系的学说，其实本身就已经蛮复杂很多哈。那像李正奎老师，他在1990几年，就是在90年代末的时候，他的一些这本书里面，就是整理了蛮多关于南岛语系的路径、流动的路径的学说，甚至有包括大部分是从中国出来这样的讲法。但是目前主流的讲法是偏向说用很简略的讲法，就是透过语言的本身的复杂的程度，去决定说，可能大部分还是主张比较偏向从台湾来，或者是至少台湾是在很早的一个重要的开展的地方，这样子。这是非常笼统的讲法，然后因为我自己的背景是地质，那我不是念人类学或者是相关的科系，所以如果我等一下有讲错的地方，或者说直播有看到我有讲错的地方，也可以留言指正。那主要是为什么要就是不是那么熟悉人类学的东西，但是为什么这个东西是一个很重要的一个背景呢？然后这个的话，那我现在大家会看到说，刚那个范畴跟现在这个范畴看起来似乎有一些重叠，但是好像又有点不一样。这个东西是在14世纪的时候，有一个帝国叫做满者伯夷。好，那满者伯夷为什么要讲这个帝国呢？因为这就跟我们的做的就是数位荒原所正在进行的群岛资料库。数位荒原驻站跟群岛资料库计划有关。群岛资料库的群岛这个字是从努森达拉这个字来的。努森达拉它是印尼在指群岛，就是努散和安达拉是就是其他嘛。那努散就是指爪哇语里面它讲说一个不同的岛。这个字它是一个爪哇中心去发展出来的一个概念，也就是说，在14世纪满者伯夷帝国，它其实是以我们现在看到这个印尼最下面这个地方小小的这个横的这个爪哇岛，这爪哇岛上包括我们现在知道的雅加达、日惹，或者是万隆是在万隆 ，Di Bandung also in Java？ Bandung also。OK， 像这些比较重要的地方，包括比如说我们雅加达其实就是荷兰时期的那个荷兰东印度公司的总部，巴达维亚所在地，其实就是都是以爪哇为中心去发展出来的一个视野，或者我们也可以把它说成是一种前国际，就是这个好像也不需要用英文啦，就是前国际。国际之前，我们现在讲说 international 嘛，可是 nation 这个字，它其实是有一个国族的一个 nationalism， 其实是一个国族主义的 他有这样的暗示，所以我们现在在讲14世纪的时候，他们怎么样去认识或交流的时候，我们当然不能去讲说那是一个 international 的社会，可是那时候我们可以怎么样去想象交流这件事情，或者去讨论。有一个国与国，或者是地方与地方之间的流动这样的概念。那我觉得这些东西是我们接下来，因为台湾近年在做新南向的政策，那鼓励很多艺术家和文化工作者去认识东南亚。可是我们的认识是不是是一个要怎么讲？我们的认识是在什么样的状况下是不同的，或者是重要的？或为什么我们要去做东南亚国家的交流？那我想，我这里就是试图用我自己的方法去整理出一个脉络。那这个脉络就是说，包括我们现在讲的南岛的流动、南岛语系的流动，以及努山达拉就是群岛这样的概念。那我汇整出来的一个就是群岛资料库这样子的一个想象。那这个想象其实当然有些地方可能还需要再去思考，以及比如说爪哇中心，它其实在重新的去强调了某一个中心的一个想象，那它也是一种扩张的意思。比如说像曼加巴希这个帝国，它其实当初14世纪它是到处征战这样子。那我们今天我们沿着这样轨迹，我们去认识印尼、去马来西亚、去交流，我们的想象是什么？我们是要建立一个以台湾为中心吗？还是说并不是这样？我们是真的想要去认识对方？那当我们在说台湾是南岛语族的起源，因此我们要去跟东南亚艺术家做交流，或邀请他们来的时候，我们心目中所想象的交流是什么样子的？那我觉得这些其实都没有要去解答，就是我们今年做群岛资料库这个计划是第2年，那也透过邀请很多艺术家，包括他在 Jeffrey 之前有一位是印尼的艺术家 Isma Muntaha， 那接下来还会有另外一位印尼的艺术家，那这些互动过程都不断的去刺激我们，然后去调整，然后去在这样子的预设的一个 framework 里面去打开可能更多关于东南亚的一个思考。这个就是我们数位荒原的网站哈。那群岛资料库做出来的文章，基本上其实是把相关收集到我们会交流、会使用到的文章，做成中英文的翻译，然后放在网站上。那在邀请 Jeffrey 来这件事情，我们比较确定以后，我就在想说，到底我可以怎么样去回应他？那在台湾这边的话，其实对于原住民的就是说，因为他我先讲一下，就是当初是一位策展人叫做叶绍斌，就是马来西亚的一个很重要的策展人。那他跟 Jeffrey 有合作过，那当时他们的合作的计划并不是 It's not KANTA, it's another cycling project, right? Yes. So 他们当初合作的也是一个就是关于单车的一个 mapping 的一个计划。那当时他就推荐他来，然后他就说他为什么要来台湾做这个 KANTA Protraits 计划？因为这个计划呢，他是要去找到所谓的，因为当时他是从马来西亚的 Orang Asli， 就是马来西亚原住民的角度去思考。那他发现说台湾是一个很重要的一个点，不管是说到底是不是一个起源说，或者是不是一个相关串联的点。对他来说，可能都是他进一步要去思考，他进一步要去延续他研究的下一个面向很重要的一个点。那当然也有可能只是借口，他就是想来台湾拍他的原住民的部落。所以我觉得不管是基于什么理由，那当时就是想说好，那所以他大概来台湾大概就自己就有来过台湾，然后去年我们也邀请他来，但是并不是用群岛资料库这样的计划，而是一个展览，叫做北达木边境旅行这个展览。然后他来台湾以后，也陆陆续续去了很多部落。那当然他在这些部落都有他自己的一个踏查或者自己的田野。可是对我来说，到底这个田野跟人类学的田野，因为我是比较站在评论或者是观察者的角度嘛，那 这样的田野到底跟人类学所谓的田野有什么不一样呢？而当初我们的到底原住民这个他怎么样看摄影，就是 photography as a representation， 就是他摄影作为一个在线系统这样子，他怎么样去理解这件事情？那当然我刚刚也讲过，我并不是人类学者，所以在做这些事情的时候，我也是蛮心虚，所以我就找一些资料。后来我找到就是陈伟智，就是一个他在现代美术，好像是2017年的时候，他有一篇文章。那当然是要感谢博伟帮我就是介绍他的 email 这样。那他的文章就是我们现在有发表在这，我们把它拆成3篇。那他主要处理的题目面向也有一点由浅而深。那在第一部分的话，我没有贴出来，就是它是比较是机构，就是跟比如说总督府，然后这样子的背景这样。那第2部分的话，他就开始就处理到了一些比较，我觉得是比较重要，可能对于摄影来说比较重要的问题，包括摄影它包括原住民的分类系统这件事情，其实可能是它跟摄影有什么样的关联？那因为我们知道说，在人类学里面，把摄影当成一个工具，它有一个 type photograph， 就是类型照片嘛。那每一个族它其实都会附一个这里面其实有一些详细的地方我没有去这里面没有办法画出来，但是可能请大家可以自己上数位荒原上看，它其实就在讲说，像这张。就是你可以看到，比如说像右边这一张，右边这个每一个图，它其实就是有正面照跟侧面照，那这就是所谓的 type photograph。所以其实我其实为什么会这样讲？其实当我们第一次不了解摄影的人看到这边也有很多像 Jeffrey 拍的照，那他的东西是不是一种人类学式的摄影？这是一个很重要的问题。那或者如果不是的话，他们不是在哪里？他们如何有一个差异性？这样，那他也是去认识原住民，但是他认识跟原住民的这个 encounter 跟留走Tori Ryuzo，或者说跟伸手之处，他们有什么差异？或者说在马来西亚的认识系统又是什么？又是谁建立的？对。再来就是在陈伟志他的文章，因为他很长，大概1万快几千多字，很长。但是他第3篇里面，他就开始有讲到说，这些人类学家在田野。那我觉得很有趣，就是说这张其实是这个是田代安定，也就是说他在画那个鸟居龙，他的设备是什么？然后这个设备Jeffrey 看了以后，他说这个就是柯达第1个型号，因为当时摄影机非常不普遍，也就是说人类学者很早就把摄影纳入了他们的一个就是跟在线原住民的这个系统的工具。那大概对，所以我觉得这张照片其实非常有趣。其实这个也涉及了一个问题，就是说到后来他又会处理到一个当科技或者当技术介入之后，我们怎么样去处理影像再现问题，以及影像再现和他自身原住民本身的自我，就是说他的 identify 有什么样的关联性？因为后来我们在访谈里面跟 Jeffrey 讨论，那 Jeffrey 说他其实要处理的比较像是认同的问题，所以他从头到尾他并没有把它当成是一个好像分类或认识这样子的一个方法。对，那这个访谈我们接下来也会很快就会上线这样。So how many hours already passed? Only 15 minutes. 那因为今天人比较多，而且因为今天有那个公司就是原氏他们要来拍摄，所以我想说接下来我可能就是提早so I will just stop here because there are so many things change. So maybe just like to brief your project is okay.
Maybe start my presentation.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. 好，所以今天其实我准备的一些资料还蛮多，但是 可能都在脑袋里面，所以有点乱。然后像我最后可能就是再讲一个，就是很有趣的，就是说这一本书也是最新出的。这里面提到就是National Geography 里面的旅游作家，他们来台湾的时候，他们听说了当时的人类学20年代、30年代流行的人类学理论，说日本的南部跟台湾原住民他们的血统比较相近，那他们的共同祖先是马来人。那当然我们现在听就觉得很不可思议，怎么会有这样的讲法？那但是我们要考虑到那个时代的那个背景，其实正好是台湾的话，台湾是1935年是日本的统治40年，所以那时候台湾的理番的成就，因为1919年好像是雾社事件嘛，那之后番地已经平定到一个状态，那他们其实准备更大的一个野心，或者说其实已经是快要就是有战争的前期那个味道。那所以当时在日本国内他们也有南进论跟北进论。那在南进论的背后，它就需要很多的理论的支持，所以也就是这个是竹叶羽三郎的南进论里面，那我不知道大家看不看得到这个看不看得清楚？对，他的意思就是说，我们曾经在小学时候教导，凡是地球上的人种可分为，欧罗巴、蒙古人种、阿非利加，对不起，就是他意思就是说，反正他这里面有一些话，意思在讲说，其实马来人的血混到了我们日本南部，所以我们更好像要去，类似要去，就是好像有点暗示说，我们更要去解放他们，从殖民者的手中去解放。那这样人类学变成是一个殖民者，或者是一种隐含着一种扩张的一个概念，其实是非常有趣的。那我觉得这个也是我在看这件事情的时候，其实有很多我觉得关于认同以及关于更多交流之间，我们其实是可以讨论的，大概是这样，那所以这本书里面，他其实他也提到说，这个20年代的背景，我不太确定到底是说他看到的东西就是竹叶羽三郎南进论里面翻译的那些东西，还是说当时真的有这样的理论？因为当时也是马来人种的在海峡殖民地，也有英国学者在研究这些东西，作为他们合理化统治的一些梳理他们合理化统治的一些背景，所以这可能也是互相影响，包括日本和英国之间，我不太确定。但是我觉得这些其实都还蛮有趣的。OK, so finally we have going to Jeffrey.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry I can't speak in Mandarin. I have to speak in English. So if you have any questions, you can just raise up your hand and ask me anything, and maybe someone can help me translate. All right. So I'm going to talk a bit about my project, my background, and how I end up in Taiwan. So my project is called KANTA Protraits. KANTA in Malay means lens, but it also means what type of lens you use. You see different things. So it's in a way how you see. So KANTA Protraits is about how you see. When I first started, this project is very much about myself. That's my name, Jeffrey. It was given to me by my father. It's an English name, a Christian name. And that is my Chinese name, given to me by my grandfather. So Lim is the family name. The second name is Ju, or Ling Yu, and that's my generation name. And the third one is Chen, Ling Yu Chen, and Chen is my unique name. So that is the name that my grandfather gave me. My grandfather gave me Chin. But everything else I inherited. And even Jeffrey also was inherited. It's given to me. This identity is given to me, so I'm born into an identity. And very early on, I had a lot of questions about who I am, because I have this Chinese name, I have this English name, but nothing about me is Chinese, apart from what I look like and maybe my blood. So I had a lot of conflict within myself when I grew up. In Malaysia, we have a lot of different cultures, and we have a lot of mixing. So very early on, I had this idea that I was a bit different, but why? So this project was about exploring that, my identity within my family, within my community, within the country, and also internationally. So I also started a project on my family, and very interestingly, the only way I could find out a lot about them is by talking to my family, and also through photographs. Photographs play a very important role. So this is my grandmother on the left, and on the right seated is the first grandmother. So it's a very complex story. I think a lot of Asian families would have very complex families because there's a lot of migration happening. Your grandfather would travel somewhere else and he would have another wife. So you might have another family that never knew of. Or names might change. This is another thing I found out, that the male can take up the woman's name. And that happens a lot in Japanese culture, and also happens in Taiwan as well, as I found out. So my grandfather had 2 wives. So we have a family in China, and we also have a family in Malaysia. And on my mom's side, it's even more complex, because she comes from a straight Chinese background, and that would mean I have everybody with the name Lo would probably be my cousin in Malacca. So that's very complex. But photographs were very important. And in a way, it was a form of archival for my family. It's a documentation. This is a picture of my great-grandmother from my father's side. And I do not know how we got this picture. My father doesn't know how we got this picture. We don't even know her name. We don't even know where she came from. So she only exists in this form of piece of paper. So in a way, photographs starts to play a very important role for me. And a portrait was very important to me. But growing up in Malaysia, this is probably what we face, multicultural culturalism. And in our country, we've been labeled. I'm labeled as a Chinese because I have a Chinese name. But culturally, I probably do not have anything Chinese about me. So I grew up in a very big conflict, and this is projected as our country. And I started to question this, because what then would then be this projection of the state between your race, your culture, your religion. And I started to dig a bit deeper about how this came about. And of course, Rikey showed a lot of anthropologist study from Japan in Taiwan, and how it all started, how they started categorizing. And this is very interesting, because in a lot of native culture that I found out, most of them do not have a separation between who they are and who the other tribe would be. Because when you would ask them who they are, they would say, I'm Amis, or I'm Tau. But in their language, it means people. We are people. There's no separation. So that's interesting that that states starts to categorize people according to race and so on and so forth. So I started digging up a lot of archival pictures. These are very early depictions of people in Malaysia, or in that region. Malaysia is just a state, it's just a construct. So I'm going to talk about region, Nusantara. This was an early depiction from 1840s. And a lot of our academia, or our institutional form, comes from this kind of studies. Pictures and drawings that were taken by the first explorers from the West. In a sense, for Taiwan, it would probably be from the East, Japan. But it became a depiction and a categorization, a systematic way of categorizing people. And then came photography, and photography was a very scientific way of seeing. But it was depicted as a true way of seeing, because it was a likeness of life, a recreation of life. And a lot of natives at that time, even in Malaysia, felt very afraid of the camera, because the camera would capture their soul. And in a way it does, because it actually captures your light. So these are some pictures from John Thompson. John Thompson is a very important guy in Asia, because he was one of the first ones who came around this region with his camera. And he also photographed all along the way, right up to China and Japan. And he also photographed Taiwan. So this is a very famous picture from Taiwan at that time, Formosa. So he was a photographer who traveled at that time and was one of the earliest depictions of tribal life or native life at that time. So apart from that, this was my research into how archival is. But then there's another part to me. I really love photography. I love cameras. These are all the cameras I've been collecting. I stopped at the last one, which is that digital camera right there, and I went backwards. So I started building my own cameras as well. This was the first camera I built. It's just a box camera. You put in a photo paper, and you can make it one single print. But cameras are really simple. Cameras is basically just a way of capturing light. And I wanted to show this one because this was something that Tori depicted in the writings that Wei-Chen did. He depicted a drawing of a camera, which is actually a Kodak Brownie #2, which is the one right on the right. It was the most basic camera they had. So the Japanese were actually using a box camera like this to create archival prints for early depictions of natives. And I went a bit further. Of course, I developed these cameras. I built 7 cameras. And these cameras, what's interesting about them is that they print on the spot as well, very similar to what it was like before. And it's a silver print. It's printed on silver paper. So that was my obsession. Another part from it is that I also try to put a bit of concept into it. So I use a lot of waste in my bill. This is just the built form of it. And 7 cameras. I built 7 cameras. The one that you see here is #1. And here is #2, 3, and 4. Just different types of focusing. And 6, 5, 6, and 7. So in total, I built 7 cameras. And this is what it looks like inside the camera. The camera is not only a camera, the camera also develops and prints at the same time. So it's actually a dark room as well. You can see that there's a developer tray and a fixer tray. And that's basically all you need to print in the field. And of course, after I started building the camera, I needed to go start exploring. Because, well, who are these people that the country is trying to say and segregate? And I knew that we are beyond that. There are also, before us, there were other people as well. And I needed to explore this idea of identity. So with the camera, I went traveling, especially to remote places, visiting a lot of tribal people, because I felt they were a voice that were not heard. Their identity and their cultural integrity is not being protected. So I knew that I had to explore as far as I can and to understand the circumstance. Because at the end of the day, it is how it happened. And then we can understand how to undo that. So this is basically in Malaysia. This is tribal places. Malaysia is made of 2 parts, east and west. So I traveled both sides and make prints in the field and gave them the print. And of course, photography is no stranger to them. They all have smartphones and so on and so forth. And they have a lot of portraits on the wall. So portraits play a very important role to their identity as well. And this is just some of the portraits that you would find in a remote village that has no electricity. So that's very interesting that they would have these depictions as well. But what's interesting about this project is that I do not take the pictures. What I do is that I give them the picture. It was a very important part of the project that they would sit for a portrait, and I would make a portrait of them, and they would witness their image appearing on a piece of paper. So this process is sort of performative way of them realizing a sense of existence, because in a way they live in very remote places and they've been exploited, and so this is a way of giving them a tangible form of themselves. And what I feel very proud that they would put it on their wall. So this would be like a main wall in their house where they put very important cultural items, which they still use, their blowpipes, their spears to hunt, and of course they would put their portrait up there. So that is like a cultural item on its own. But to dig deeper, why I go travel and visit this is a way of understanding what is true identity for a country. Is a country a representative of all of us? So that was the question I was trying to push. So I started digging deep into a lot of anthropologic studies done by the West, in my sense. So this is a very early map of the Malay Peninsula, and then how they start to categorize different people according to the type of language they spoke. And of course, it evolves because studies at that time was very primitive or very not in-depth. So of course, this is a more updated linguistic map of how complex it can be. And this is probably the most updated map from 2011. And shows the different types of languages or linguistics that Peninsular Malaysia would have. And if you look at from Malaysia, both sides, East and West, and Taiwan as well. So what's interesting between Malaysia and Taiwan is that Taiwan has been referred to as the origin of Austronesian languages. And east part of Malaysia, which is the pink part on the right, is also part of that Austronesian language group. And I found out in my field trips that we do share a lot of similar words, like mata, telinga, bibir, and aku, and lima, and enam. So that's very interesting. We share very similar words as well. So that's what led me to Taiwan. I wanted to explore that. But not only about any particular tribe. For me, it was actually to look at the social structure and the social circumstances of how Taiwan tribes would negotiate their identity in reference to Malaysia, because Malaysia also would face very different situations. But at the end of the day, they all face the same problems. They are all being forcibly assimilated, losing their identity and cultural identity. So through my studies, that's what I found, but that's what led me to Taiwan. On a bigger picture, of course, Southeast Asia always leave out Taiwan. So I felt that was actually quite misleading because they are very much part of this region. So if you look at a modern map, it's always included because linguistically they are linked throughout the region. So I came to Taiwan and I needed to collaborate because for one is I don't speak Mandarin. But more importantly, it is the connection between the tribe and this project. Because my search was more about my identity and my family. So the people I worked with was very important. I worked with two people in Taiwan. One was Luke, that is her on the left in the center. And she builds box cameras as well. And that is her box cameras. She builds these box cameras. So in Taiwan, there are 3 people who do this. And so she's one of 3 of them. And she's partly Rukai. So that's very interesting. I found out only late in the project. But that's the connection. It was through her that she discovered her family who were native. So I could also understand about my situation and finding my family. So that was the process that we had that we developed. Of course, we also took portraits, and we interviewed the family members and also elders within the community. This is Pali Pilipi. That's an interesting name, but we call him Mumu. Is that what you call grandfather in Taiwan? Mumu? Do you call your grandfathers Mumu? Well, we call her Mumu, and that's a very cute name. But he was a language teacher, and from our conversations, we found that language was very important. And that's how I found out that we had a lot of similarities between telinga, which is ear, mata. So we share a lot of similar languages, words. But what was important was how the land, language, and this cultural identity is all linked together. And it's very important because it links them to a space. A culture cannot exist without space. Culture cannot exist without language. and a culture cannot exist without family and a community together. If you remove any of these parts, that culture will die. Or probably it will just exist in a museum and a non-living form of culture. So we found out very importantly that this collective memory, because in native traditions, there is no written form. It's all oral traditions. A lot of stories are all handed down through generations by oral traditions. So it's actually a collective memory. There's no such thing as one truth. There's many truths. In oral traditions, you have to ask everyone about the same truth. So that was something we found out to be very important in our research. And the second person I work with is Posak. Posak is in the room here. And so we also explored her family links through a community and to the space that she's from. And what's interesting is also that every native community faces different circumstances because of history, because of where they are. And I think also they create new history because culture always changes. Culture never stays the same. So in a way of studying this, we found that actually cultures regenerate themselves or renew themselves. And in this story of her village is that her village has moved many times. And the story of creation comes from many different people, and we found our way to find the origin of where they came from. We actually traced the river to find the story. So interestingly, that led us to this river and also many elders who had this collective memory of where they came from. And of course, they were very passionate about their history, and they started drawing up their own maps and names. So this links them directly to where they live. And every native community need this kind of stories. And it's not stories, actually it is their heritage. And of course, after our collaboration and our fieldwork, we would have an exhibition. We would do prints. I would show the prints. So what happens is after I make the portrait, I would develop it and I would give the portrait to the participant or the person I've taken a picture of. And then I would have a copy. I would have a negative copy, which I then make a copy to do an exhibition. And in our exhibition, we'd have a write-up and also a sound clip. We also started recording during our interviews, the environment, some of their questions, and then even their singing as well. A lot of their memories are in singing. So this was one of the first interview exhibition. And then, of course, we put that's an excerpt of this person. And then with Posak, we had an installation. We actually traveled to maybe 3 different villages. So we had a lot of portraits. We also had, in the drawers, were all the portraits and stories of these people and how they form. It's very interesting. It's too much for me to say right now, but I think you can find some of them here. So you can ask me some questions later. So this is Ma Yao just now from Fataan, and he is supposedly a very famous baseball coach, but he also holds a lot of story as well. And we collect a lot of found objects. But these found objects are interesting because they are also man-made. It's a byproduct of the quarry where they make the stones. So Hualien is famous for that triangle stone I found out. And of course Pinlang, which is I don't know if you had, but I think it's like an epidemic now in Taiwan. Similar to Malaysia, we have a lot of palm oil, which is taking a lot of land issues, especially with tribal and native lands. And Posak created a video essay and also a video installation on the right, where you see a little small projection. That's actually the river or the retaining wall to the river. Because Pangsha tribe is a river tribe, but because of all this relocation and all the circumstances that surrounded where they are and what happened to them, they have no more attachment to the river. So the only attachment they have to the river is that retaining wall. So that's the history. So she made a video called Crossing the River. It's a 20-minute video. I don't think so you can see it today. It's not published online yet, but eventually I think it will be. And in there, it's a film essay. So it's a non-narrative film essay about all the elders and intergeneration between 2 different villages trying to remember where they came from and trying to understand why they are who they are. And then, of course, POSAC is also coming to Malaysia. Right? I felt like it was very important for POSAC to come to Malaysia to also experience and understand the circumstances of the tribes in Malaysia as well. So she will be coming to Malaysia in April, in 2 months' time. And then we would have this exchange, and probably we would make more portraits and have more interviews. And yes, so I've created some work. This is pictures, portraits from Taiwan in food cans. I produced only probably a few artworks, and this is one of them. And that is basically the end of my presentation. Well, thank you very much. I think he has a few things to say.
No, not really a lot to say. Just now it's QA. Yeah, 就是现在是问题时间。因为我们先讲一下，就是我知道博伟的计划聊计划都很长，但是我不喜欢那么长。没有啦，就是因为那个我们可能会留一些时间给大家互动，所以我们现在在开放5到10分钟，就是如果有问题，我们5到10分钟讨论这样。那之后可能就直接进入那个 present 或者是就是 demo 或者是就是可以看一些作品这样。有没有大家想问的 ？Any questions? Candice? I would like to introduce Posa first. 那个刚刚他们讲的那个艺术合作艺术家 Posa 在后面这样。他是目前是阿美族，因为不知道会不会被证明成绑架或者是怎么之类的，对。然后对，还有其他就是有，当然 ，of course there are also some friends that speak English only. So, okay, any questions?
I'm curious because I saw your talk last time when you visited at ICIC, and you were mentioning that. So you had a plan for for this trip this time, and then now that you've done it in a way, what came out as surprising? Yeah, because your process at the start was quite set, right?
Okay. So yeah, that's a very interesting question because we didn't have a lot of expectations. I didn't have many expectations when I came to Taiwan. My study was mainly to be with someone like Posak or Luke, and to discover the community through them. So in a way, I was also discovering about myself and my connection. But Taiwan had full of surprises and a lot of similarities. And we found out that we're much closer than we thought we are. And one of the biggest things is like we are people. That was one of the biggest things I found. When they say that we are Tau, means that we are people. So that was one of the biggest surprises I had. Because in Malaysia also we have that certain tribes call themselves people of the land or spirit of the land and so on and so forth. So there was a lot of similarities that I found, which was very surprising. On a deeper level, I think I started to deconstruct about what and how we categorize ourselves, or how country has created this social construct of how we label ourselves. And in a way, it was a bit depressing for myself because I've lost a contact that I can never get back again. That I found in this community, and that's something I felt missing in my life. So I felt like these communities and these natives have a very strong bond, and I wish I could have that. And maybe I'm still longing for it and looking for it. That's why I'm still traveling the camera, taking pictures, and meeting more people. But this social construct, it broke a lot of my concept about citizenship, why I am Malaysian and how Malaysia is made, how countries are made, and how countries and how flawed the system is to segregate people or have social structures to segregate people. And this concept has broken the way or changed the way I see. Do you need translation? Anyone? Sorry, a bit. Well, I'm trying to close the project. So this is actually supposed to be my last trip to Taiwan. I've been here 5 times already. Out of the 5 times, 3 times was for this project. I traveled to 4 villages. Wu Tai in Pintong. I've been to Lan Yi. I've been to Fata'an in Hualien. And I've been to Xiaopitan. Do you know where Xiaopitan is? Xiaopitan is in Taipei. Xiaopitan. Sorry, I'm saying it wrong. Xiaopitan. Xiaopitan is in Taipei. But that's very interesting because Xiaopitan, you wouldn't think that there would be a native village in Xiaopitan in Taipei. But that's very interesting. In my first trip to Taiwan, when I first came here, I stumbled upon a little squatter area beside Tam Shui River. Tam Shui. And I was very interested because the village looked very different or very similar to villages I find back home, native villages back home in Malaysia. And I started questioning or asking some questions, and I found out they were actually natives that moved to the city. So, and through our last project here, when we visited them, we interviewed a lot of their leaders and a lot of the inhabitants, and they came up with a very interesting description of who they are. We are Xiaopitan tribe. They're not Amis, they're not Pangcha, they're not anything, they're just Xiaopitan. Because the whole village is also made of many different tribes, and even Han Chinese and Hakka Chinese as well. So in a way, it was actually a social tribe, and they formed their own new village. So that was interesting for me.
But just following your answer, there are also Yisi Bulo in Taiwan, also other tribes. They are not only, they are like Houtian, like non-natural tribe, you know, not natural born tribe. There are also some such things happen. And yeah. I just want to ask you another question that you say that you will be end this like this initiative in Taiwan, but will there be any excuse because that maybe also some people here will like to like cooperate with you or like to develop some kind of project with you. Yeah. So in what case that you will like come?
Yeah. Well, when I say my project here in Taiwan is finished, is that this project is finished. I've done this project for 4 years. I've been doing this for 4 years already. So it's taken me quite a long time to build the camera, to travel around, and to get access to communities. And also Taiwan has taken up 2 years. I came to Taiwan in 2017, the first time. So I'm trying to close this chapter of the project. Of course, in September, someone is trying to invite me back in September to do something else in Taiwan. So yeah, I might come back again. And of course, if there's any collaboration in future, I would love to come back. Taiwan is such a beautiful place. And I will still be taking pictures, of course. There's still so much to discover. I've only visited maybe 4 or 5 tribes. There are like more than 20, 30 tribes in Taiwan. And there are a lot more stories to understand. And I think there's a bigger audience to understand because the circumstances of people here, the circumstances of natives in Malaysia, is a story of us in the city as well. So it's the future of us. What's going to happen to us in the future? How are we going to negotiate our own culture or our own identity? So it's a very important story to tell. Well, I brought the camera because I would like to do a demonstration, so I can show you what happens when I take a picture of someone. So usually I would in some villages where I would have time, I would spend some time with the person and I would ask them. Usually their basic is their name, where you're from, and how are you located here or how you associate to the community. And usually these questions would last a few hours. Because when you ask somebody their name, oh, my name is this, but actually my name is that, and it comes from here, blah, 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 blah. And where are you from? Oh, I'm actually not from here, but I came here, blah, 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 and then grandmother's story. So it's very long. So apart from that, and after that, only I will take the picture. And they will sit down. So I'll do a demonstration, and then all of you get to see how it works. and then yeah, you can have more questions after that. Okay? Okay.
那我们直播的部分，各位网络上的朋友，直播的部分就到现在为止。其实我刚刚没有贴链接，所以应该直播应该是之后才会看到这样。好，那就谢谢各位，博宇，谢谢。